Hotels are an integral part of the tourism supply chain. From people to the planet, hotels have the potential to contribute meaningfully to society. In this episode of the Sustainability series, we discuss how hotels can be sustainable, with case studies from 2 hotels in Nepal known for their sustainable practices.
Sustainability is to create a long-term value in any organizations by considering the ecological, social and economical environment.
Tiger Tops and Mountain Travel were doing eco-tourism, as it was then called, in the 80s or late 70s, before anyone thought about it and before it had a brand label. And that evolved into responsible or sustainable tourism, depending on which sort of categorization one uses, but really they're very similar. And from there, regenerative tourism has emerged as a sort of great-grandchild or something, which basically looks at sustainability and says, this is lovely. We are sustainable. We're like a graph in a hospital, flatlining, we're not making anything any worse. We've leveled off our carbon or whatever it may be, and says we've got to be regenerative, regenerate. So how can we, rather than being carbon neutral, let's say, as an example, can we be carbon negative? So rather than just sitting and saying, look, we're not adding any extra carbon, we're actually clawing carbon back and improving the situation. So I think in a nutshell, that's one part of what regenerative tourism means. So it takes sustainability, but makes it more proactive. The second part, I think, of regeneration is to make a better quality tourism, and one that I think the coronavirus pandemic has fostered a natural interest in among travelers, which is more of a quality of tourism that celebrates place, celebrates people, and celebrates uniqueness. We started very small. We started just doing things we thought were right. Whether it's reducing plastic, recycling waste, composting food waste, and putting it back into the gardens, moving the gardens to organic management from chemical management, all those sort of things, growing more local products, and focusing on local. Probably later in the day, we actually moved from the classic formula where we had a Nepali lunch and a Western dinner to one more choice to allow guests more flexibility, but also really celebrating Nepalese food. And so focusing on that, and not just dal bhat, but local recipes from the village, local rice varieties like Jetuburu rice from Pokhara Valley, and humla rice, marsi rice from up in West Nepal, and things like that to celebrate the culinary culture of Nepal for a purpose. I cannot remember precisely how I came across them, but there was some contact, and I looked at this, and it was a eureka moment, because it was one of those really simple ideas that just jumps off the page. And what it is a website, and obviously now all the other social media elements as well, that allows destinations to say, our community needs this, and tells travelers, leave a little space in your luggage and bring these items. And then obviously the hotel or whatever, the destination entity, can arrange the handover to the beneficiaries in the local community, whether it be schools, health posts, whatever, and provides a link between tourists and travel philanthropy with destinations and destination needs. Because all too often, it's very difficult actually for a traveler to identify what is needed in a destination, and they end up bringing things that are either not needed or irrelevant or culturally insensitive or whatever it may be. And it can be anything from a calculator to help kids in a maths class through to laboratory equipment and sophisticated things. So all things are possible, and we update our website with Pack for or the Pack for a Purpose website regularly after discussing with the school. And that leads on in our local community. As a lodge in the community, as part of the community, we don't say, would you like this or can we do that? But what do you want? What do you need? And then how can we help provide it? And really retaining the ownership with the community, not with the hotel or the lodge. And we have supported the local Nepal Red Cross branch in building a emergency building and training center in the village, things like that. So all sorts of things we've done, but it's all been community driven, community led, community based. And so we do that. We focus on the environment, and we're working now to establish an agreement with the community forest, which has two benefits. One, it will provide funding, which we do already, but in a more structured and formal sense, for conservation work within the community forest, to help them have freedom to do more in terms of conservation and good forest management without denying the rights of usage of the community forest, which obviously are not for us to challenge or question. It will also allow us and the community forest to join an organization called the Long Run, which is some of the internationally best practice on environmental sustainability organizations. So that's a sort of work in progress.
Restaurant Comfort decided to be more sustainable, and to be more sustainable we need some recognitions, and then we need some credibility as well. So because of that reasons we went into Travelife, which guided us very well, and then now we are Travelife certified. So it helps a lot, it helped us a lot, and we are very much proud to say that we are working on sustainability, and we are environment friendly.
Again, we started by accident on the auditing process. There is a well-known professor of sustainability in the UK called Harold Goodwin, and he had a postgraduate researcher who was looking for a test bed and to try out some theories of systems to prevent greenwashing, and so he put us in touch, and Jennifer came from England and worked with us and taught us, in terms of auditing, almost all that we know. A brilliant lady, and we're still working with her 15 years later, 12 years later. So we started with her on what is called verification. And this means that we have a responsible tourism policy. So we set this all up, and then she verified how we were performing against our own policy. So that's verification. And interestingly, as a sort of a slight aside, what we thought we were doing really well, we weren't quite as good at. But the things we thought we were miserable at, we were actually brilliant at. So that in itself showed us the value of a more formal verification process. That led naturally to certification, which is where you're comparing yourself against someone else's standards. So in our case, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, the UN body, their standards through an organization based again in the UK, in this case, Travelife, which is a GSTC affiliated auditing organization. And Yardstick, going back to verification, is now working on developing part of its product. Will show how you compliant with the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. So one will have that in a very proven way. And this is why I suppose the bottom line of why we do it is, one, to be sure we're clear on what we're doing, and two, to be able to prove that we're doing it with independent verification, very independent certification, to ensure a clear, honest, and tangible approach.
Some of them are like water management and waste management and food management and like food costs and all these factors. So that goes on environmental factors. So these are the things that we need to consider. And the second one was how well we choose the suppliers, having contract with them, and most optimal utilizations of local products, how to use the local products. It's more important to choose local products rather than the imported products. So these are the things that we need to consider while we did traveler certificates. And more importantly, I find it very much important and then fascinated with the internal marketing. They focus internal marketing a lot as well, where we need to focus on our staff as well and their needs, their requirements, how an organization is closely working with the Labor Act of the local government, and how we are providing these kind of things to the staff. So to consider staff well-being as well. So this is the most important things that we need to consider. For the hotels who are applying or who wants to get an sustainability certificate, I just want to advise things like first you just need to set a goal, what exactly you want to do. If you want to just to get a sustainability certificate, or you really want to apply and sustainability in your organization, so you have to set a goal what you want. We just need. Secondly, I think the hoteliers who just want to have a sustainability certificate is to contact or to get suggestions with the person who have already got the certificate. They might have lots of informations and then advice for the organizations. And thirdly, research is most important. So you just need to find out what kind of certifications you are requiring for your hotel in compare with the goals. So you just need to search for that. And then after that, you just can apply for the certifications or be a member. And the certification people will guide you or the hotel who wants to get a certificate with all the requirements that they need to maintain, that they need to measure on these things. So I think it's kind of easy as well, because they all give you information, and it's very much helpful for your personal life and for your organizations, for your staffs, for everyone to how to operate this kind of things. So firstly you just need to set up a goal. Secondly, you just need to get suggestions with your colleagues or friends or who have already got this certificate. And thirdly, research is most important. So these are the things that you do that.
I think first and foremost, it's back to greenwashing. if you are not being sustainable in any aspect, if you're not being sustainable, don't talk about it. Don't pretend, don't fake it. Don't do it all at once. Baby steps. Take something you can achieve, monitor it so you know what, let's take electricity consumption as a nice easy one. What is our consumption today? Look back over your accounts, you can see how much you've been using. Okay, how much are we targeting a reduction? Monitor it to show that you have produced that reduction with the evidence from your electricity bills. There's a simple one. And it could be vehicle fuel. I know Royal Mountain's done great work with electric vehicles, for instance. And have a steady, every year on year, incremental improvements, incremental additions to what you're doing, improving your overall sustainability, regeneration. And so I think that is really important. A steady build. After 5 years or whatever, you'll have actually gone further than if you'd rushed in the first year and then paused for 2 years and then done a little bit more in the fourth year. So year on year incremental building is I think a key. The problem is that everyone is obviously hopping on the green bandwagon these days. So avoiding greenwashing and fake information is very important. And that loops back to what we were saying about certification or verification. I think those obviously having independent reports and documentation that can be shown to guests is obviously one element. A lot of the organizations very much involved with promoting sustainability are looking at destination level. So sustainable destinations as opposed to sustainable properties or individuals. And that is the way forward for the industry and obviously the way forward for maximizing positive impacts. So look for destinations that are promoting sustainability. Look then for hotels within those destinations that are signed up, let's say, to the Nepal Sustainability Protocol or whatever it may be, and move on from there. That's how I would do it. And then look online. There are a lot of Travelife promotes its own audited properties. Regenerative Resorts, does the same sort of thing. There are lots of them.